Robstar Gang, what up? What up? Appreciate it, everyone. Join the live stream. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. We've got a new feature added to the Robstar report. Now you can see the comments coming off the side there. It's kind of like how Twitch does their thing. So now you can kind of see where your comments are coming in now off to the side over here. I can see your comments a lot better. But you get to see your comments on the screen now, so makes you kind of feel like you're part of the show. You know what I mean? We're adding some things over here. Whoops, I took y'all down. Did not mean to do this. Basically, it's kind of like Twitch. So if you follow anybody on Twitch, it's basically the same thing. I took your comments down. Did not mean to do that. But what's up, Eric Blair, Marcos Cash, everyone in the chat? Appreciate y'all joining the live stream tonight. Zach Taylor's in here. Underground West is in here. I appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, we're upgrading here a little bit, Eric. We're upgrading a little bit. We sure are. We sure are. Ladies and gentlemen, the Robstar report will have merch coming out. Just so you're clear on this. Robstar report will have his Robstar Gang shirt coming out in the beginning at the beginning of July. So at the end of June, that's where I'm hoping I can get this merch finally come through. And any of my members today are going to automatically get a free gear, whether it's a hat, shirt, whatever. I haven't decided yet. Probably I'll do a shirt. I'll probably do a shirt. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. Shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs, hell, maybe koozies. You know, I mean, we all love some beverages here, right? I think we all love some beverages here. You know, the adult beverages. You know what I'm saying? Not those kitty milk beverages. You know what I'm saying? But again, guys, you know what I want to talk about. So be on the lookout for that. Become a member of the Robstar Game. The link is right here. Join the Discord for free. The link is right here as well. And all my links to my Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, it's all there as well. Okay, guys. So you'll be able to go directly to that and it'll take you right to it. All right. Also, we have a live goal up today, a major giveaway coming. We are so close to 6,000 subscribers. I can taste it. We are literally almost I think, no, it's not even 3,000. I'm sorry. I was about to say 3,000. We're literally 20, not even 20. I think it's less than that. I think it's like 12. We're like 12 subscribers away from being at 6,000. If we reach 6,000 subscribers, I'll do a nice giveaway. My first giveaway of the year, by the way. All right. And there'll be more giveaways. It ain't going to be the only one. We're going to do a bunch of giveaways this year. If Jalen Ramsey does, in fact, come to Carolina, hopefully he can last longer on this team than Stephon Gilmore. We shall see. We shall see. We're going to dive into that today, though. We're going to dive into that. So basically, this is what we're going to dive into today. If you read the description of this live stream, we're going to dive into Ramsey's connection with Ejiro Evero, because from that Super Bowl run with the Rams, we're also going to be connecting on the praise of what Jalen Ramsey had to say, what it really means. Then we're going to dive into the state of this Panthers defense heading into 2025. And then we're going to talk about maybe some corners that possibly we could target, whether it's a trade, whether it's free agency. So we're almost 6,000 subscribers away, though, guys. 12 subscribers, and we'll be at 6,000 subscribers. Also, follow me on Twitch, Facebook. We got Carolina Guy at 11 on Twitch. Appreciate you, man. I don't have a lot of Twitch followers. I may have like 5. Because I just started streaming over it on Twitch. You know what I mean? I feel like Twitch is not that platform where it's like, you know, it's not NFL. It's mainly like, you know, gamers and ASMR if you're into that. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm talking about. Like Twitch is mainly for like other stuff. You know what I mean? Probably more adult content too. But I haven't I've just started streaming on Twitch. So, but I appreciate you coming through, Carolina guy. We got a guy over there on the Twitch. So, and Twitch is the same thing, guys, as you can, see over there at the bottom of the right-hand screen. It's just _Robstar92. So all my socials, I'll just even put that in here in the chat. Socials, all it is at Robstar92 _ literally. You can follow me literally everywhere at that social right there. All right. Or you can just click the link. I have it right here. All my links are in the chat right here. So appreciate y'all. All right, let's dive right into this, man. Will you make channel rewards? I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. Carolina guy. I'll definitely have to figure. I wonder. I think that I have to have a certain amount of following for Twitch to get channel rewards. So I'm not really sure. I have to look into that. I haven't dived into Twitch. Like I said, I just started streaming there. We'll have to get into that another day. But I'll look into it tonight. I think there has to be a certain following for Twitch for channel rewards. So, but we will get into that. I'll definitely have to dive headfirst into that. If I start getting more of a Twitch following, I'll definitely do it. All right, let's dive into this, man. We got lots to talk about. Let me exit out of that. Let me share my screen real quick, ladies and gentlemen. We are not going to be doing this. Let's hit the present. All right. Okay. All right. So let's dive into this real quick because there's the thing about this that's so intriguing to me is that there's something oddly, I think for me, it's something like oddly poetic watching a franchise like Carolina who's kind of teetered on that edge of chaos. Okay. And if we're calling it a rebuild and we're calling it a rebuild year, right? I mean, I guess that's what we are still a part of. You know what I mean? So, and here's the thing when it comes to this whole rebuild year thing, right? Like, we're in this 2025 season, and it's, I feel like this 2025 season is shaping up to be less about rebuilding and more about a full scale, like, restructure. Okay. Like, you've got defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero staring squarely in the eye of the eye of a storm for this season, to be honest with you. Because let's not sugarcoat it. Everywhere we have to call it how we see it. Evero's defense last year, ladies and gentlemen, was a total disaster. Again, we've gone through the numbers: 32nd in scoring, dead last, embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. But it's embarrassing, especially for a guy who was once considered one of the hottest young defensive-minded football coaches in the league. And then in 2024 was just an absolute soul sucker. It was to me, it was like it was a brutal morale erasing campaign that left us fans delusional, and also this front office quietly asking themselves, is this the guy who we really thought he was, right? it made me think that I mean, but here's the twist that gets a little interesting. It's just when the heat seems unbearable, in walks in maybe a guy that Carolina probably could end up maybe taking a peek at in Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is a walking gold jacket candidate. He's a former pupil of Evero, offering that kind of praise you don't throw around lightly, right? He comes out and says, where here's his quote. Been blessed to be around some of the best teammates and coaches. Coach E is one them real ball coaches, will be a head coach one day. Nothing but respect, Jalen Ramsey. So that statement right there, just jolts. It's going to jolt through this fan base. You can't tell me that this fan base isn't already licking their lips thinking about Jalen Ramsey possibly joining the Carolina Panthers. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just about respect because of the respect it commands. It's because of the tantalizing possibility it really teases. Like, could Ramsey now on the outs in Miami make his way to Carolina with a reunion with Evero? More importantly, can Evero actually fix this broken defense before the franchise resets again? Let's dig in. Let's dive into this because Ejiro Evero became this man. He was on this star rise to man, now on to the hot seat. Like Ejiro Evero's, if we think about it this way, coaching trajectory was absolutely straight fire. You're talking about a guy we're talking about from a quality control guy to a Super Bowl winning defensive minded with the Rams. Then to be a miracle worker in Denver's defense in 2022, despite the Broncos being offensively terrible, okay, during that time. But Evero was being buzzed about the next great head coach. He had interviews lined up. Owners were calling. Hell, the Panthers were halfway hoping he'd replace Frank Wright after the midseason meltdown we had in 2023. Then you come into 2024 and it was still ugly. So, here's the thing. Injuries, again, I get it. Injuries ravaged this roster. Depth fell off the cliff. This secondary, once thought to be a strength with J.C. Horn and a few promising pieces, became a liability. Carolina gave up the most points in the NFL, worst in franchise, 471 total points. That's 27.7 points per game. It was just utterly atrocious. Yet we bring back Evero. Why? Because they still believe into it, at least for now. But here's the thing. Dan Morgan, and then, of course, you got Dave Canales. They've decided to run it back with him because they're betting on the fact of the continuity, the player development, and the hope that Evero's 2022 magic in Denver wasn't a fluke. But this isn't a long leash. I'll be honest. If this defense doesn't show significant improvement, and I'm talking about top 12, top 15 improvement, it won't just be Evero's head on the chopping block. It could be more than that. I wouldn't say the whole damn coaching staff, but definitely more of that staff. I think a guy that I think is safe to say that will be here and could end up taking over if Evero does not figure this out. It's AC Carter, linebackers coach, our linebackers coach. And if anybody doesn't know who AC Carter is, do your homework. Go do your homework. Guy's a stud. Guy knows how to develop linebackers. That's for damn sure. But then you enter in Jalen Ramsey. You got to talk about a guy who's got respect, history, a big ass contract. Let's pivot to him for a second. All right, chat. Let's pivot to Jalen Ramsey. All right. This is the guy who we're talking about that's kicking off this conversation tonight. All right. Well, if we're talking about it this way, like Ramsey, Evero are more than just former coworkers. They're conspirators, and really in one of the NFL's most dominant defenses during the Rams 2021 Super Bowl run. You got Evero was the secondary architect behind the scenes, who was obviously working closely with Ramsey in LA's with Ramsey, even though as the LA safeties coach, secondary coach, and the defensive pass game coordinator between 2017 and 2021. So, I mean, under Evero's vision, you got Ramsey who elevated beyond his freakish physical traits. He turned into a true football savant. I mean, able to move inside, outside, blitz off the edge, diagnose plays like a damn linebacker. 2 of his 3 first-team All-Pro selections came during those Rams years. So, to be honest with you, you could ask yourself, is that a coincidence? I would say no. It's not a coincidence. Because we've seen it time and time again. We've heard it time and time again. Right? So when Ramsey calls Evero a real ball coach, says he'll be a head coach one day. I mean, that's not lip service. It's gospel, man. I mean, the time of the statement is curious. Ramsey's name is floating in trade rumors. Miami's ready to move on. He's 30, but I still think he's elite. I still think he's a top 5 corner in the NFL. He's still a menace. Now, he's expensive. You're talking about a guy who's carrying a $25.1 million guaranteed contract in 2025. And now he's reportedly had some beef behind closed doors, in South Florida. With Miami looking to retool, he becomes the odd man out. So what does that have to do with Carolina? Really everything and nothing, to be honest with you. Now, the question is, could Carolina actually make a trade for Jalen Ramsey? Zach, good luck on your exam, man. All right. Good for you for hopping off of here and going to study. Have a good evening. Good luck on your exams, my guy. But that's the thing. Let's talk about brass tacks for a second, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about brass tacks. Could Carolina trade for Jalen Ramsey? Could they actually do it? Yes. Here's why. Carolina desperately needs what? Cornerback help. J.C. Horn, is he excellent when healthy? Yes. But there is still that big if. We've only seen this past season, really a full season. Mike Jackson, solid CB2, but depth, talent, versatility, it's thin as hell, ladies and gentlemen. Ramsey solves that, of course, overnight. He gives Panthers a lockdown corner, a locker room presence, a coach on the field, a proven leader who already knows Evero's system like the back of his hand. It's a plug and play, and suddenly your secondary has some fucking teeth. But there's always a catch. There's always a problem. It's the damn money. You can't afford him. You're talking about Ramsey's contract. It's a bolder one. 25.1 million guaranteed next season plus future cap hits. That's the problem. It doesn't fit Carolina's rebuild. It's a cap composition blueprint. Now, here's the thing. Dan Morgan's time here so far has been about building through the draft, cutting dead weight, avoiding splashy, backloaded contracts. Now, unless Miami, if we made a trade with them and they were willing to agree to eat a chunk of his salary or release Ramsey altogether, a deal seems unlikely. But still, if Ramsey ends up hitting the free agency, look the hell out, because that's the first call you got to make. Just be his old, and it might just be his old coach. Evero could make that call. Now, again, you could also trade for Ramsey and work on the contract. You could renegotiate it, restructure it. You got Brant Tillis. Brant Tillis is a guy who could definitely restructure that contract. I mean, there's no denying that. We've seen how Brant Tillis does with contracts, and he does a very damn good job so far. And I see Marco's chat. He's saying, I'd pass on Ramsey, in my opinion. See, the thing is with money, I don't see it being a problem anymore with Carolina because of a guy like Brant Tillis who's able to make these contracts and negotiate and rework the system a little bit. You know what I mean? So, and it's just, but that's another thing. Then you got people like Trap who just says, we don't have a lot of options. We don't for a lockdown corner besides JC Horn when he's healthy. And again, I think JC Horn will have another good season this season. I'm not too worried about his health. It seems like everything is fine. It's back on track. But here's the thing that people don't realize is, like, we got to think about what the hell happened to that defense last year. For people to understand why Panther fans are drooling over, and it wasn't like the reason why Panthers fans have been drooling over, and I was one of them, certain players like Jalen Ramsey this offseason, and these people like T. Higgins, and you got Julian Blackmon over here, and you got other guys in free agency that I wanted, and I was drooling over guys in the draft that I wanted. But we have to go back and look at that defense and why it imploded in the first place. It wasn't just bad luck. It was an organizational failure. Okay? But we're going to dive into this. This is the new defense we see now. But let's go look. If we talk about that defense last year, why it was such an organizational failure, I don't blame Dan Morgan. It was Scott Fitterer. Okay. You lose Brian Burns. Okay. Bam. Trade to the Giants. Frankie Lou chose the Washington for the lesser contract to play for Dan Quinn. Safety Von Bell. Move on. Jeremy Chin fell off the cliff, but I think that's more on Evero's fault still. The pass rush vanished. Opposing quarterbacks had all day to pocket, in the pocket, in the secondary. Absolutely Swiss cheese, you know what I mean? But the result, 32nd in scoring, blown coverages, missed tackles. You're talking about just soft, uninspired football, man. To the credit, though, Carolina didn't just sit on their hands this offseason. They didn't. Like Dan Morgan didn't sit on his hands this offseason. He went out and actually rebuilt this defense, I think, to be respectable, to be competitive. It wasn't like it was it doesn't look like it was anything of a shitstorm. You know what I mean? It didn't look like anything to be a shitstorm. I mean, we have a lot to be thankful for what Dan Morgan did if we're looking at this roster now. You even compare the two, it's a night and day thing. It's a night and day thing when it comes to this. If we look at the roster from last year and this year, I mean, you drafted 2 edge rushers. Nick Squarton, Princely, Umami Yellen. Real upside, both of them. You re-sign Mike Jackson. Give a Horn deserved contract extension. You bring in Bobby Brown III, a true nose tackle. Tershawn Wharton, rotational guy at best, but had a career year last year. Got him for a good contract. You got Patrick Jones II coming off a career year as a rotational guy. But it's only 26, 27 years old. Same thing with Tershawn. You go out and get Tre'von Moehrig, Christian Roseboom, who led his team. Boogie Basham. Don't sleep on Boogie Basham now. Lathan Ransom, who was obviously a, who brings a lot to, honestly, has a lot of upside too, because from what I'm hearing, he was one of the highlight reels in a rookie minicamp, right? But that's the thing. Carolina actually fixed the one thing that's held us back for years, to be honest with you, if you think about it from a defensive standpoint. Like, that's the thing that I'm talking about here. Like, we look at this roster now, and Dan Morgan finally plugged some damn holes. Like, Dan Morgan said he was going to fix it. And for once, someone in Charlotte actually followed through. Now, again, let me be clear here with this. Ejiro Evero's 3-4 scheme didn't have a damn chance last year when you lost Derek Brown after week 1 was brutal. Okay? Like, I mean, the Carolina's defense wasn't just bad. Again, it's historically bad. We were watching that run defense getting steamrolled every single week after week after week. It was more like a case study at that point. Less football, more like a case study. Like, opposing offenses could take our front seven and run over us like a speed bump on the interstate. Like, you could practically I just felt like offensive coordinators were laughing inside around the league every time they would play us, especially from an offensive standpoint. You know what I mean? Yeah, Trap, I saw that. I knew Moose wasn't going to make it, but I mean, they waived him due to an injury. I don't know how bad the injury. But again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Last year, like, it wasn't just a scheme issue. It wasn't just bad luck. Like, this is years roster neglect from Scott Schitterer. It's also had to do with coaching turnover over the years, soft talent evaluations, all catching up at once from Scott Fitterer. But now you get a guy who knows ball, who knows talent. Dan Morgan now is running the show. You've got Robin and, like I said, Brant Tillis. You got those guys running the show. The authority demands results. And Scott Fitterer has to take that failure with him. But, the thing about Dan Morgan is he went to work. But the biggest issue last year wasn't just the scheme. I'll say this: the biggest problem was the depth, and more accurately, the lack of it. Like once Derek Brown went down, in the middle of that defense was wide open. I mean, you're talking about Carolina gave up over 3,000 rushing yards, nearly 180 yards per game. Again, we're talking about something that was not just bad. That's fire everyone type of territory bad. Yet again, like I said, Dan Morgan and Dave Canales decide to let Evero stay. And credit where it's due, I'll say this: they didn't run away from the wreckage. They rebuilt it aggressively. They targeted the trenches in free agency. Again, no more bargain bin patches. They missed out on Milton Williams. Okay, fine. They shifted over. You land Tershawn Wharton, a rock-solid addition with a motor, doesn't quit. You get Bobby Brown III, an actual nose tackle who's played under Ejiro Evero before. Imagine that. You get players who fit the scheme. Holy shit, it's revolutionary. It's not fucking rocket science. It's actually fucking called common sense. But it's so crazy that we hired a guy named Scott Fitterer that was just incompetent as fuck and couldn't read talent if it slapped him across his fucking nuts. That's the biggest thing. That was last year, broski. You lost Derek Brown, it was game over. That's how bad it was. But then there came the draft as too. You get Cam Jackson on that inside now too. You got a raw, physical, gifted force. I think who looks like he was built in a lab, honestly, to eat up double teams. He's not ready to start tomorrow, but give him some coaching, a full training camp. He could be scary midseason. I could see that. I could honestly see him taking his Shy Tuttle spot. But there's more depth here. You got A'Shawn Robinson coming back still, though. One of your guys who had 5.5 sacks. You know what I mean? I mean, this unit right here is so much better than what we had last year right here. Like, that's the thing that's crazy because if you think about it this way, this defense in 2023 was ranked, and believe it or not, was like a top 4 defense in rankings, in certain rankings in 2023. And we literally went from Swiss cheese to a steel curtain. Maybe now is what I'm saying. We literally went from steel curtain to Swiss cheese. Now, hopefully, back to that steel curtain. You get Derek Brown healthy. A'Shawn Robinson's back. Shy Tuttle is no longer a full-time guy now, which may benefit him. But this defensive front might finally, I think, will have the size. I think we'll have the power. I think it will have the speed, the depth to not be a weekly embarrassment, right? You throw in that edge help now that you got a linebacker core with some more depth. It's not the deepest depth. Okay. All right. But this is a linebacker core that could actually benefit from the linemen doing their damn jobs that you have out there now. And I don't feel if I lost there now, knock on wood, I don't think this is going to happen. But, if I lost Derek Brown, I wouldn't, or if we lose any of these guys for the season, and I'm just saying for one guy from the defensive line standpoint, I could feel like I'm okay still, but that's because we have more depth than we did last year from a depth situation. Again, I just think that Carolina now could be sitting on a front seven worth respecting again. I mean, here's the thing. Will everyone make the cut? No. Guys like Jaden Crometti, I'd probably even say LeBron Ray are now squarely on the bubble, in my opinion. Frankly, that's a good thing. Roster pressure forces growth. Competent compliances, are dead. You're talking about progress has a cost, man. And like Morgan seems just fine, paying it. So, looking at this defense from an outlook perspective, like I'm not going to get ahead of myself and say that none of this matters if the unit can't stay healthy. I think that I'm not going to, I'm not going to get in my head of myself and then, somebody, nothing else matters about this unit unless it can stay healthy. You have to stay healthy. I mean, the best ability is availability. Basically what I'm getting at there. But I think this defensive line on paper, we're looking at it, can be nasty. I think the players have to gel. You got to keep them healthy, hold the damn line when it counts. But still, for the first time in years, I would say there's legitimate hope that this front isn't just a patchwork, right? It's still rebuilding, but it's rebuilt to respectable. Like again, if they can stay healthy, the rest of this defense, sets the tone early, then the rest of this defense benefits. The linebackers are going to have to clean up some stuff here and there, but the secondary isn't left on an island every snap either, though. Like, even though we got Ramsey, even if we didn't get Ramsey, I don't feel like this secondary is just going to be left on the island by itself. Like, the offense might even get better field position once in a while, which we really haven't had, from a defensive standpoint. So if this line can deliver, then everything changes, right? If this line can deliver, then everything changes. Appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. Now, let's say Jalen Ramsey's not there. If Ramsey doesn't end up in Charlotte, then I think the Panthers could take a look at maybe another corner. I'm going to give you a few names. I got Jair Alexander on the board from the Packers. Again, another elite talent, huge contract, similar cap issues with Ramsey, but less chemistry there. I think Greg Newsome is enticing, great slot corner potential, cheaper, younger, might cost less in draft compensation. Meek Robertson from the Lions, who's a gritty experience coming off an injury, final year of his contract, low risk, high reward type of situation. Like any of these guys would bolster the group and make Evero's job easier, but they don't come with Ramsey's brain and versatility, in my opinion, and built-in scheme familiarity. So that's what I'm saying. But I want to go back to this real quick because the question I have for you guys then is, because you say it here. He says that Ejiro Evero will be a real head coach one day. So, I mean, guys, sound off the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think Evero is head coach material? I'll say this. I think that Jalen Ramsey could be right. I could see it one day. I think, for one thing, I'll say this. I think Evero is respected by players. He's adaptable, has done more with less before. He speaks like a head coach. He seems like a coordinator who knows his auditioning every week. But this season is a make or break season. Like, another bottom 5 defensive finish, and then that'll just crush his momentum. And then it's a leap into the half of the league, especially with a young, underdeveloped roster. I mean, that's resume gold, to be honest with you. So here's the thing that I got to say. Here's my final thoughts on all of this. Is that hope, reality, and then there's like that thin line between them. And I'll be honest, this isn't a fairy tale, okay? Like, Panthers aren't one move away. I've never thought that. We're still in a working progress, but this is a progress year. Again, that's why I said I thought 9 wins was a progress year, right? But if you can bring in that Evero Ramsey reunion, it is more of a fantasy plan. I'll say that. But the defense has still some ways to go, in my opinion. But what Jalen Ramsey did, intentionally or not, I think has reminded me as a fan of something that we desperately needed. And there's still belief in the building, like in Evero, in the system, in the future, and maybe just maybe in a team that's sick of being stuck in neutral. Like, if Evero delivers this year, he gets a head coaching job. If not, he's back to square one. But for now, Carolina rides with Coach E and hopes to hell that someone, or maybe even Jalen Ramsey, will ride with him. I mean, here's the thing. I think you got to go. I think a guy like Ramsey makes a lot of sense. But again, Julian Blackmon makes a lot of sense. So I don't know. Is it possible? Yes. But it comes with a major cap hit that we can't afford. Can we restructure? Sure. Could Miami eat some of it? Sure. Or could maybe Ramsey finally become a free man and be in the free agent market, and then we can hammer hoe? That's also a possibility as well. So, man, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me show you how easy it is. That's how easy it is, man. Again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Do me a favor. Make sure you smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Make sure you click that push notifications bell so you don't miss out on new content. Guys, let me look at how many subscribers we're away from 6K. We're literally 12,000 subscribers from 6K. 6K. Look at that. 5,988. So we only need 12 more subscribers, and I will do a nice giveaway for the family. So again, I appreciate every single one of you joining in here. I am going to go and do some TikToks, and I will get them posted on TikTok here shortly. I'll also be getting some content over here shortly as well. So make sure you guys tune into that. And again, as always, guys, I will see you on the other side. Possibly we'll see you tomorrow. And as always, guys, y'all have fun, be safe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. And as always, keep pounding. Peace.